Here we are. This is one of a series of interviews we're doing of free thought bloggers to give them a chance to speak out and say what kinds of cool things they're doing and why you
Okay.
listeners ought to tune into their blog every day and see what they're saying.
Sure.
So today we have William Brinkman, who is
Hmm.
from the Bolingbrook Babbler blog,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
I'm going to turn it over to him, and he's going to tell us all about your blog, how long you've been writing it, what's it all about, that kind
Hmm.
of thing.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I'm William Brinkman again, and I write the Bolingbrook Babbler, which is a satirical work of fiction I've been doing off and on since 1998, and currently been on a 13-year streak, so hopefully I can keep that up. Basically, it's set in Bolingbrook, Illinois, my former hometown, and it's written in a tabloid style, kind of like a Weekly World News type of thing. Basically, I imagine it. One way to describe it is the Weekly World News meets the X Files, or like Welcome to Night Vale, which I have to watch one of these days. But I did it. I came up with the idea first. Okay. Yeah. Basically, it's set in Bolingbrook, Illinois, and in the setting, Bolingbrook's really the is appears to be a sleepy suburb with no downtown, and you have to drive everywhere, but it's really the home of the world's largest urban UFO base, and there are all kinds of monsters roaming around, from vampires to weird ear to were skunks. And it was run by Roger C. Clare. He stepped down this year, so that's been a creative challenge. And while he was running it, it was considered the most important village in the galaxy. And whether it stays that way is stay tuned. We'll find out. Um, yeah, basically, how I come up with it is it's pretty much comments on, right, my commentary on things. I mean, it's not necessarily about Bolingbrook. I mean, I'll talk about religion or have national events and try to fit it into the setting of the Babbler, like the election of Trump is really like, for example, is I consider it part of the uprising of the Illuminati, and then use that to discuss the two competing conservative ideas like uh, neoconservatism. I hope I got the term right, but basically the idea of organized government, very pro-business, kind of a very orderly world, and then the nationalism we're seeing with Trump and around the globe that's represented by the Illuminati. So kind of like they're creating global chaos and they want to manipulate the global chaos. And so, yeah, I mean, and I suppose if you've looked over the years at all the stories I've done, you probably see distinct periods where, like in the 90s, it was like, wow, can I really get away with this? And then the early 2000s, okay, I'd better, maybe it starts out being more about Bolingbrook, and then less about the politics of Bolingbrook and more about issues and skepticism. And then it changes over back to more politics and atheism and more social justice. And I would say in 2016, that was kind of I imagine, a generation switch over to more of a less of the traditional conservative viewpoint I saw in the Babbler, and more of the next generation taking over and being more pro social justice, and hence the fictional reason why they're in the Freethoughtblogs. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
I had a couple of questions. I kind of want
Sure.
to consolidate them now because I
Okay.
was going to ask you, your process for coming up with
Hmm.
ideas for the blog and how you decide what to
Sure.
write, but also how do you engage with your readership? Because it sounds like you like ideas coming from the comments. How much does
Yeah.
that feed into your story?
Sometimes I don't. Uh, I mean, I have like a Facebook group called the Bowling Babbler Readers Group, and then a page for the Babbler on Facebook, and then Twitter. Comments, I'll pretty much get emails. So I don't get a lot of comments on the blog. So hint, hint, if you want to comment, I've lifted a lot of the restrictions you can. Yeah, basically, I mean, I've had some people say, "Hey, this is what's going on in Bolingbrook." Or like a good example, someone gave me a spreadsheet with like odd expenses that were made during employee orientation. And so I told him he could do more research, but I did mention it when I had in one story where at the end, a new employee comes up to the business owner and says, "Hi, I'm a new village employee. As part of my orientation, I'm supposed to give you this check." It's kind of like, and then the mayor goes, "Hey, you're supposed to wait till after the opposition leader left before doing that." Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah, there was a lot of that under Mayor Roger Clare. He's legal, but he kind of really knew how to push the limits of Illinois campaign law. Yeah, to put it mildly. He has one of the largest campaign budgets of mayors comparable size. At one point it was $1 million, and Bolingbrook has a population of about 80,000, which is way out of whack. And let's see, basically a lot of Republicans will go to him for fundraising, and in 2016 he made a big hubbub about hosting a fundraiser for Donald Trump and bringing him into the village, which inspired the rise of Bolingbrook United, the opposition party, which is the first real opposition party in several years.
So this is part of our fundraiser. So you're suggesting I should go talk to the mayor and see what they might be willing to kick in to help us out. And
he might, but there'd be way too many strings attached, and he's the ex-mayor now. Mayor Emeritus, they actually give him that title. Yes, they voted on it, believe it or not. Yeah. But,
okay.
Yeah, so as far as so
I was just going to say, tell me about yourself. Let's get out of the fictional world.
Okay.
Tell us about you and what you do. And
okay. Well, I serve on the board of Koladash, which is a secular humanistic congregation in northern Chicagoland. Our Rabbi Adam Shalom married Sandra and I. Sandra's my wife, and I've been involved since 2013. And it's kind of an amazing journey. It's a humanistic, atheistic congregation. It's not really concerned with disproving God, but more how do you move forward from there, and also how do you keep Jewish tradition going when you don't believe in God, and it's more cultural Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's like many years ago, I wouldn't have imagined myself being in a religious humanist setting, but I attended a few services. I fell in love with it. And, I don't know if I'm necessarily Jewish per se, but I like being a part of this culture. Yeah. And I'm also, I wrote this down. Yeah, also volunteering for Representative Sean Casten in his campaign. He is one of the members of the Freethought Coalition in Congress, in the House of Representatives. So in some ways he's a moderate Democrat, but I think he's very good on social issues, and he has a passion for controlling the greenhouse climate change. And my solutions might be more not exactly the Green New Deal, but he does have an interest in it, and his methods are up, but I think he's on the right track towards trying to fix climate change, or move us forward at least.
Very good. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what are you doing in Freethoughtblogs? How'd you get all tangled up in our little mess?
Well, I've been following you guys since the beginning, and I just loved it. I always had an interest. At the time the blog started, I had a regrowing interest in secularism and atheism and Cubanism. And I always had an interest in social justice. Even though it was more of a mix back then than it is now of ideologies. But I like you, I liked Greta Christina and a lot of the bloggers that are here now. So I just really loved it. And then when people started leaving due to the whole rifts and the controversies, I initially thought, well, I like this place. I'm going to step in and help out. So that was my first application, and which I I guess it was voted down or something, or got lost in the shuffle. But in 2016, I said, okay, I'm going to try again. And then I got your email and was like, wow, I made it. So that's why I'm like always grateful whenever we do these things, always express my gratitude because I love it. I love the mission of Free Thought Blogs, and I'm glad I can help out and contribute in any way I can.
Great. Yeah. The thing is, don't take it
Mhm.
personally that we didn't respond the first time, because as you
Right.
have since discovered, we are
Uh-huh.
incredibly disorganized.
Right.
we just we just kind of muddle along. So
Yeah.
yeah, we periodically go on a little binge where we
Uh-huh.
say, hey, we should look at these applications and
Yes.
see who else to invite. And you
Uh-huh.
stood out, and so
Yeah.
here you are. Yeah.
Yes.
This is
Appreciate it.
kind of
And
the general way we do things is, yeah,
uh-huh.
sometimes we just let it slide for a long time, then okay, yeah, we got
Yeah.
to do something.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And basically my advice for anyone who wants to apply, your writing is the key. The application's not that important. I mean, my second one wasn't. It's like I look at it now, and it's like, ugh, wow, I could have done better. But the point is, it's your content that counts.
Yeah.
If you have good content, it'll override any application, and if you're a good fit, then go for it.
Yeah, the application mentions that you are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to send in links to your writing
Right.
elsewhere so we can look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, that really is much more important than the application itself, because we'll go look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And what we want is somebody who's got a sustained effort in
Yeah.
writing and
Mm-hmm.
writes interesting stuff. And
Yes. Mm-hmm.
then we're happy to bring them in. Although we've had a
Exactly.
few cases where you bring them in and then all of a sudden they dry up because they don't like this medium, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't
It's
judge.
no.
Yeah.
Take your time. I know. I admit when I started, I guess I had imposter syndrome at first, but then it's like, no, act like you belong there, write what you do, you'll get your own voice, and I did,
Yeah.
and now readership's gone up with on my blog.
Oh,
I
that's
found
what we
my
like to
click,
hear.
yes,
Good.
and I was just going to say that, yeah, then being on Free Thought Blogs has also allowed me to branch out into nonfiction posts as well, and even doing the occasional video post, and yeah, it's like it's helped me grow.
That's the whole idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me that segues nicely into my next question, which is, are there other blogs you read? Not
Uh,
necessarily at Free Thought Blogs, anywhere.
yes.
What kinds of things do you like to read about?
Okay. Well, I like reading news articles. It's like my notices are like was light up with news headlines and all that, so I got to keep up with that. But blogs, yeah, all the free thought bloggers are good. I mean, don't ask me. It's like picking a favorite sibling. I can't really do that. They're all good. They're all good in their own way. As far as other blogs, Skeptic, I mean, Rebecca Watson's revived that, and I highly recommend that. And recommend her videos as well. And I did have the pleasure of working with her through a nonprofit corporation she's kind of involved with. So I'm glad she's coming back.
Hmm.
And of course, We Hunted the Mammoth, which is kind of follows the MRA's men's rights activists, and offers a critical view of them and insight, and that's helpful thought with my book, which we can talk about later. Science-based medicine. It's like whenever Sandra says, "What do you think about this?" It's like science-based medicine. That's the group blog of skeptical doctors and medical professionals, and that's highly recommend that one. And for podcasts, I've been listening to Gaslit Nation, which is Andrea Chalupa and blanking on the other person. I should have written it down, but it's like two women who are experts in authoritarianism, and they've been chronicling what's been going on during the Trump administration and how it relates to their experience with other authoritarian regimes. And it's kind of like they predicted what Trump was going to do, and it's like, wow, they were on the ball. And I always believed them, and they were right. Unfortunately. Oh, and a friend of mine, Phil Ferguson, has a podcast
Oh yeah,
called The
Phil.
Phil
Right.
Ferguson Show. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. He even interviewed me. It's on there. You can look back in October, you can hear it. It's about my deconversion of going from atheism to Christianity to back to atheism.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, you sound like a typical lefty, just the kind of person
Yes.
we like to have on this blog. And yeah,
Uh-huh.
I did not ask you for a favorite because
Right.
one of the other things about the network is that we strive for diversity. So, you know,
Yeah.
not everyone is going to be to everyone's taste, but we hope you can find
No.
somebody in the mixed.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely. Sure.
so we'll just close this out with one more question, which is what
Okay.
about the future? What are your plans for the immediate and long-term future?
Okay. Immediate. I'm hoping to finish up my novel. It's called The Rift. It's based on an alternate setting of the Bolingbrook Babbler universe. I would say when I wrote for White Wolf, White Wolf had a role playing game. They called it the World of Darkness. I'm calling my setting the World of Insufficient Light because it's a bit darker than the blog, but not bad. I mean, not terrible like the World of Darkness was. And it deals with the rise of MRAs and alt right within atheism. It's pretty much a story about a character who considers himself a skeptic and critical free thinker, then has his world blown away, and he has to deal with that and his feeling towards one person. And basically, he's forced to actually practice skepticism instead of proclaiming himself a skeptic. And let's see, and hopefully it becomes a book series because I've got a bunch of ideas. And my wife's starting up a new orthotics and prosthetics practice, and I'm helping her with the social media and various odd tasks. So that's my future.
Okay. Well, that all sounds good. So I guess we'll
Okay.
just let everyone go and I'll just tell them you have to go find the Bolingbrook Babbler on freethoughtblogs.com
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
read it every day, right?
Yeah, every
Yeah,
day, or I at
mostly.
least update it once a week. Yeah.
Yes, there you go. So
Mm-hmm.
there's your homework, everyone.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll let you go and thanks for doing
Okay.
this interview
Sure.
and
No
we'll
problem.
be watching your work.
Thank you.